consider the example where A and B are assumed to assumed to be equal in ability and intelligence. A has a choice of strategy 1 and 2, and B has a select among strategy 3 and 4. Right? So here you can see, there is a competitor B who has his strategy 3 and strategy 4, and here we have a competitor A, and the his strategy 1, and he has a strategy 1 and strategy 2. Right? Now one thing that we have to remember is that the competitor that we take on the left hand side of this matrix is no, we are going to express the matrix in terms of this competitor. Right? So for example, no, this is competitor A, and this matrix is called as the payoff matrix for A. Right? If the values in this payoff matrix are plus, right, so that means that this particular competitor, that is competitor A, is gaining something. Right? And if the values are negative for a strategy, so no, if the values, now here all the values are positive, but if any value would have been positive, any value would have been negative, that particular is the loss for this particular competitor A. So I'm hoping that you're getting. So this is the payoff matrix for A, and how to identify why I'm saying that this is the payoff matrix of A, because A has been represented on the left hand side of this matrix. So this matrix is oriented towards A. Right? For now example, how these values are read. So suppose this A is playing his strategy 1, and at that particular time competitor B is playing his strategy 3. So for this particular combination, the result is +4. That means that competitor A is gaining +4. No, you can say rupees, points, or anything like that, but no, he is gaining +4 units. Similarly, if competitor A is playing strategy 1 and B is playing strategy B, strategy 4, then the A is gaining +6 units. The same thing is for your this row also. If competitor A is playing strategy 2, then particularly if the competitor 3 is B is playing strategy 3, so the gain is +3 for A. And nextly, for strategy 2 of competitor A and strategy 4 of competitor B, the gain for A is +5. If there would have been a negative sign here, that would have been loss for A. So this entire matrix is represented with an orientation towards competitor A. Right? Now this particular matrix is already been known to A and B. That means that both of these competitors know the payoff for the every strategy, every possible strategy. So the same line here has been given here. Both the competitors know the payoff for every possible strategy, and this matrix is known to competitor A as well as competitor B. Now here you can see that this particular matrix is favored towards A. So irrespective of competitor B playing strategy 3 or strategy 4, and irrespective of competitor A playing strategy 1 and strategy 2, this competitor A is always winning. There is some kind of bias in this particular matrix, right? So here this matrix have favored A, as all the values are positive. That is, the game is biased against B. However, what B will be doing? However, B must play the game to minimize his losses. तो यहाँ पे क्या करने वाला है, B क्या करने वाला है, उसको मालूम है कि उसको लॉस होने वाला है. But competitor B is going to play this game, and he is going to play this particular game for the minimization of his losses. Right? And what will be the strategy of A? Strategy of A, competitor A is winning in every stage, but what will be his strategy here? Now he will be playing for maximization of his loss, maximization of his gains. Right? So competitor B is playing for minimization of losses, and competitor A is playing for maximization of his gains. right? So this is max-min strategy that they have adopted. So there are in total 2 into 2, 4 possible combinations. I have already explained you for the strategies. So A wins the highest game if he plays. Now here you can see, the no, particularly if I'm only uh, thinking of this particular strategy 1 and strategy 2, right? So A wins the highest game if he plays the strategy 1 all the times. See, analyze if particularly A क्या कर रहा है, अगर स्ट्रैटेजी 1 खेल रहा है तो यहाँ पे उसको +4 और +6 का क्या होने वाला, फायदा होने वाला है, विच आर मोर देन +3 एंड +5. तो यहाँ पे अगर आप लोग स्ट्रैटेजी 2 देखोगे और स्ट्रैटेजी 1 के साथ कंपेयर करोगे, अगर कॉम्पिटिटर ए आपका स्ट्रैटेजी 2 खेलता है पर ये वाले कॉम्बिनेशन से +4 वाला कॉम्बिनेशन बड़ा है, even for +5, +5 is less than this +6. So every time, so if competitor A has to maximize his profit, he is always going to play strategy 1, right? And what B is realizing, so every time particularly अगर B का strategy क्या है, ऐसा है, ये उसका B का strategy 3 है और ये B का strategy 4 है. अगर वो strategy 3 खेलता है तो उसको क्या होता है, कम नुकसान होता है, राइट? हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू कंपेयर, +6 से +4 क्या है, छोटा है, +5 से +3 क्या है, छोटा है. So what he will be doing always, to minimize his losses, the competitor B is always going to play which strategy? Is always going to play strategy 3 all the times, right? Now this particular matrix, if I'm going to consider this particular matrix, now what it is going to happen is that the average amount per play, A will win in the long run, and if A and B use their best strategies, it's called as the it is called as the value of the game, right? So now, irrespective of what is happening, A is going to win this particular game. So this I have taken only for the example, but the numericals that we are going to see will be somewhat different. Now let's see our rule 1, which is to look for a pure strategy. That means that we are going to look for a saddle point, right? So we are going to look for the saddle point, right? So I will be explaining here what is meant by saddle point and will be moving ahead, right? So they have given that in a certain game, player A has 3 possible choices, L, M and N, while player B has 2 possible choices, P and Q. Payments are made according to the choices made. So these are the various choices, and the payment according to all the choices are given here. We have to frame the matrix as well. So they haven't given us the matrix, so they have given us only the statement. What are the best strategies for the player A and B in this game, and what is the value of this game for A and B, right? So what we are going to do here is, now we are going to frame out our matrix first, and then we are going to start with this numerical, right? And particularly what we are going to see is how many strategies are there for A. So we are having LMN, right? So we are going to make this matrix payoff matrix for A. So player A will be on the left hand side and player B will be on the top side, right? So the strategies of player A are L, M and N. So L, M and N are written here, while the strategies of player B are P and Q. So this P and Q are written here, right? So what they are saying for LP choice, so that means that player A has taken L choice and player B has taken P choice. So for LP choice, A pays B ₹3. Now this is the payoff matrix for A. तो A को अगर लॉस हो रहा है तो मतलब वहां से क्या करना पड़ेगा हमको, we'll have to represent it with the minus sign. So A is paying, so that is the loss for A. So A pays B ₹3. तो ये क्या हो जाएगा, उसका लॉस हो गया, इसलिए उसको -3 में हम लोगों ने रिप्रेजेंट कर दिया. Next is LQ. So player A is playing L and B is playing Q, right? So here what is happening, B is paying A ₹3. That means A is gaining, so hence it will be a positive. Nextly is MP. So player A playing M and player B playing P. So MP, so what is happening? A pays B rupees 2. So A is paying, so it will be minus 2. Similarly for MQ, it is B pays A rupees 4. So B is paying, so hence it will be positive. NP, so B pays A rupees 2. So hence it will be positive here. And for NQ, B pays A rupees 3. So here again it will be positive. So I'm hoping that you will be able to construct this matrix, because it is very, very, very important matrix. Now what we have to do is, particularly I have also given it in the theoretical format, so that you won't able to particularly एक बार पढ़ोगे तब भी ये याद आ जाएगा कि क्या हो रहा है. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि we tend to lose particularly what we have understood. So I've written it in the proper format so that you understand what I'm going to tell you. So now player A plays his first strategy, namely L, and he gets minus 3 or 3 depending upon the player's B selected strategy. So particularly he can guarantee however again. So now particularly if player A is playing his L strategy, ठीक है, तो प्लेयर ए अगर एल स्ट्रैटेजी हमेशा खेलना चाहता है तो उसको क्या मिलेगा? एक तो -3 मिलेगा, नहीं तो 3 मिलेगा. किसके ऊपर डिपेंड है? प्लेयर बी पी या क्यू स्ट्रैटेजी अडॉप्ट करता है, इसके ऊपर क्या है? डिपेंड है. बराबर, इधर टू गेट -3 और 3. लेट्स नो पर्टिकुलरली थिंक ऑफ अ वर्स्ट सिनारियो. वर्स्ट सिनारियो में उसको क्या मिलेगा? कितने का लॉस होने वाला है? उसको जो लॉस होगा वो -3 का होगा. राइट, सो हियर आई हैव रिटन, सी, player A plays his first strategy L, he may get -3 or 3 depending upon player B's selected strategy. He can, however, guarantee at least getting how much it is the minimum value among this -3 and 3, which is what it is equal to -3, regardless of the B's selected particular strategy. So -3 से कम उसको गेन, -3 से कम उसको मिलने वाला है क्या? नहीं मिलने वाला. प्लेयर बी कुछ भी सिलेक्ट करे तो -3 से कम प्लेयर ए को मिलने नहीं वाला फॉर select after selecting L strategy. So that I have explained in this particular paragraph, right? So now similarly, if A is playing M strategy, right? So particularly what is the minimum value that he can particularly get? It is -2. So even here also we have represented -2, and here also we have represented -3. So what we have done is we have found out what is the minimum amongst the row, right? So -3 और 3 में से सबसे छोटा क्या? -3 है, और -2 और 4 में से सबसे छोटा क्या है? -2, right? So now similarly for last n strategy, the minimum value that here is going to get is what? It is the minimum amongst 2 and 3, and that particular value is particularly 2. So here that I have written. So strategy N, he guarantees income of at least how much? Minimum of 2 or 3, and that is nothing but 2, and that also value we have written here. And thus, particularly I have written in the box here, thus the minimum value in each row represent the minimum gain guaranteed to that particular player A, right? मिनिमम ऑफ रो जब हम लोग निकालते हैं तो हम लोगों ने क्यों निकाला है? बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज द मिनिमम गारंटेड gain for A if he is playing the corresponding strategies, right? Similarly, for player B, right? तो player B क्या करने वाला है? वो he is particularly going to maximize his particularly gain, राइट. सो पर्टिकुलरली उसको क्या होने वाला मैक्सिमम? तो वो क्या करेगा? प्लेयर बी नाउ पर्टिकुलरली वी आर गोइंग टू थिंक आउट हाउ मच मैक्सिमम ही इज गोइंग टू अर्न. सो फॉर प्लेयर ए हम लोगों ने क्या किया है? हम लोगों ने ये फाइंड आउट किया है कि सबसे मिनिमम वो कितना यहाँ पे फाइंड आउट कर सकता, उसको मिल सकता है हर एक रो के लिए. पर प्लेयर बी के लिए हम लोग क्या करने वाले हैं? फॉर पर्टिकुलर प्लेयर बी वी आर गोइंग टू आइडेंटिफाई व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम दैट ही कैन गेन. So maximum among these values is how much? It is 2, and here I have written. So I have also written the heading here, maximum of column, that is 2. Similarly, maximum of this Q is what? It is 4, right? So now what? Particularly here it is written, thus the maximum value in each column represent the maximum loss to the B. So here we have particularly found out by this value the minimum gain for minimum gain for each strategy for player A, and by finding out these values we have found out the maximum loss that that particular player will have to have, particularly if he is playing his strategies P and Q, right? So now what nextly we are going to do is that, now what is this? This is, these are the gains and this is the loss, right? So when we are finding out the maximum value will be always positive for player B, and that particularly will be the loss, because player B, if the value is positive, he has to give that value. So 2 and 4 here, what we have, what I have shown here, 2 and 4 are the losses. So what he will be doing, player B will maximize his loss or minimize his loss. Losses are always to be minimized. So what he is going to particularly think of is that playing of such a strategy that he will be minimizing the loss that he is going to have. So what player will be doing now? Player B has to minimize the loss. Here the strategy of that particular player B, that minimize his loss. The strategy is what he will be selecting, that particular strategy which is yielding minimum of these two values, that is 2 and 4, and that particular strategy is what P. ठीक है, तो उसको लॉस तो होने वाला ये मालूम है, पर लॉस को कम करने के लिए क्या है उसके पास करने के लिए, he will be selecting that particular strategy which is yielding him minimum loss, and that particular that particular strategy is strategy P, right? So here I have written, and that particular strategy is now called as the minimax strategy. So why it is called as minimax strategy? We have found out maximum of column earlier, right? और मैक्सिमम ऑफ कॉलम पहले फाइंड आउट करने के बाद हम लोगों ने क्या किया, उसमें का मिनिमम फाइंड आउट किया, तो उसको हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे, मिनी मैक्स बोलेंगे। पहले हम लोगों ने मैक्सिमम फाइंड आउट किया और मैक्सिमम का मिनिमम फिर उसके हम लोगों ने फाइंड आउट कर रहे हैं, तो उसको हम लोग क्या बोले वाले हैं, पर्टिकुलरली वी आर गोइंग टू कॉल इट एज दी मिनीमैक्स स्ट्रैटेजी, right? In the same way, right, what this particular player, what we have written here are the minimum values, and player A is interested in particularly maximizing his gains. So all these are minimum values of the gains, and he will be maximizing this particular gain. So what he will be doing is he will be finding out the maximum value amongst this, and he is going to play the corresponding strategy for this. So the maximum value is what, 2, and that particular strategy is what, N. So here what he has done is that also player A will select the strategy that maximizes his gain. So the strategy is selection of max values among -3, -2 and 2, which is equal to 2, and the corresponding gain is called as, now what, the corresponding gain is called as the max min. So why it is called as max min? Because we have earlier selected the minimum values, and then now what we are going to do is we are going to select the max value. So this particularly is called as the max mean value, right? So now amongst this, what is the minimax value? Minimax value is 2. And what is max mean value? The max mean value is 2. So if your minimax value is equal to max mean value, then it is said that it is having a pure strategy, or it is said that it is having a saddle point. I'm repeating again. If my max mean value is equal to minimax value, then the numerical is said to, or the game is said to have a pure strategy, or it is said to have a saddle point. If my max min value is not equal to minimax value, then the game is said to have a mixed strategy, and it is said to have no saddle point, right? In our case, what is happening? In our case, our max min value is equal to minimax value. So your min max value is equal to particularly max min value, and which is equal to 2, and hence this particular game is said to have a pure strategy, or it is said to have a saddle point. Also, the value of this particular game is nothing but 2, which is nothing but max min value is equal to minimax value, right? So the value of the matrix is given by saddle point and is equal to the max min value or max min values. Thus the saddle point, particularly here is equal to 2, right? So now they have also particularly given one differentiation. So the game is said to be fair. Then we say that the game is fair if my max min value is equal to min max value is equal to 0. उसको हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे, फेयर गेम बोलेंगे, राइट. So a game is said to be strictly determinable if no particularly max min value is not equal to the minimax value, is not equal to the 0. So if my max min value is equal to minimax value but it is not equal to 0, तो उसको हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे, we say that it is strictly determinable. Otherwise we said that the game is no particularly a fair game, right. So now what is the significance of this saddle point? If the saddle point is there, the saddle point solution guarantees that neither player is tempted to select a better strategy, राइट. दोनों का भी क्या आ रहा है, दो दो ही आ रहा है. तो कुछ भी करने के बाद भी प्लेयर ए भी अगर कोई सिलेक्ट कर रहा है तो इज सिलेक्टिंग द स्ट्रैटेजी which is going to lead him value 2, and player B is also going to select that particular strategy which is going to yield him value 2. So that particularly is they particularly are not tempted, or they particularly are not, we can't say not tempted, they are tempted to select a better strategy according to that max min value and min max value, right. So I've taken some examples for explanation. So now if how we can identify the saddle point. So here particularly this is the given matrix for us. So firstly what we are going to do is we are going to find out what is the minimum of row, and we are going to find out what is the maximum of the column. So if we find out what is the minimum of row amongst these two values, the minimum is -4. And if we are going to find out what is the minimum of row, again here it is the minimum of row is -7. Here we are going to find out what is the maximum amongst the column. So maximum amongst the column here is -3, and here if we find out it is 3, right. So what is the minimax value, or let's start from the the minimax value. So minimax value is the maximum amongst this. And what is that particularly okay, so what is the max min value? So max min value is it should be -4. So we are going to select the maximum value from this minimum, so it should be -4. I mistakenly written it -4. Earlier I've written it -4, then I cancelled it and have written it -7, right. So -7 is the minimum value. Here max min value is what? Maximum amongst the minimum value is -4. That should have been written here. And the minimax value is -3, right. So it is right. So we have these two values, and among this we have to select the minimum value, which is -3. So now here it is -4 here and -3 here. So -4 and -3 is not particularly equal, and hence this particular equation or this particular game is do not have any saddle point, and hence it is a mixed strategy game. So now we are going to learn about the mixed strategy at the end of this particular towards the end of the game theory. Now we are only going to talk about the pure strategy, but just remember the name. If there is no saddle point, that means that the game is of mixed strategy. Now let's think of this particular matrix, right, which is the payoff matrix for A, and let's we have to find out if this is this has a saddle point or not. So what we have done is we have found out the minimum of row first. So in this particular row first, what is the minimum value? It is 0, right. In this row, what is our minimum value? It is 6. In this value in this row, what is our minimum value? It is 2. And in this row, what is our minimum value? That is 0, that I have written here. Similarly, I have found out what is the maximum of the columns. So maximum amongst this column 1 is 16, that is written here. Maximum among this column 2 is 10, that has been written here. Maximum along this column 4, so column 3 is value value 6, that has been written here. Maximum among this column is 14, that has been written here, and maximum along this column is 14, that has been written here. So what we are going to do is we are going to find out the maximum values amongst this minimum value, that is nothing but max mean value, and the max mean value here comes out to be 6, right? Here also what we are going to do, we are going to find out the minimum value amongst this maximum value, and here if we found out, the value comes out to be 6. So here what we can say is that particularly max mean value is equal to minimax value is equal to 6, and hence saddle point is present. Now, depending upon this, if the saddle point is present, we know which strategy these players are going to play. So, no, strategy for player A will be what? Strategy for player A will be, the row amongst, the row corresponding this value, and that is which row? It is row number 2. So, the strategy for A will be playing no, row 2 value, and no, for the strategy for the B will be what? Strategy for B will be playing column number 3. So here he will be playing column number 3. The value of this particular is nothing but 6, and that we have written here. So the game value is equal to 6. Right? So I'm hoping that you have understood this, right? So it is very simple. Another example, we have this into consideration, and we have to find out if this has a saddle point or not, right? So we are going to find out the minimum values among 0. So for row 1 it is 1, for row 2 it is -11, and for row 3 it is -3. You can't take a 0 here, right? 0 से भी कम value है यहाँ पे, which is -3. So that particular value is taken here -3. Actually, we have strategy B. Strategy B can no for sorry for the maximum values of the columns here we have identified. For column 1 the maximum value is 1, for column B the maximum value is 13, and for the column C the maximum value is 13, right? So the minimax value is particular minimax value, that is minimum amongst this maximum values, is 1, and max min value is also 1. So hence these are having the saddle point. So strategy is A. No, for strategy for A will be what? Playing which row? Playing row number 1, right? So we have row number 1, and strategy for player B will be playing which strategy? With the strategy corresponding to column number 1. What is the value of the game? So this is the value of the game, which is nothing but 1. So here we particularly what is meaning of the mixed strategy, or what is the meaning of having no saddle point. So if there is no saddle point, neither player can optimize his chances by using a pure strategy. प्योर स्ट्रैटेजी मतलब क्या? एक ही स्ट्रैटेजी को बार बार खेलना, उसको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? प्योर स्ट्रैटेजी बोलते हैं, राइट? पर अगर सैडल पॉइंट ही नहीं है तो एक ही स्ट्रैटेजी बार बार खेल के कुछ फायदा होने वाला है क्या? नहीं होने वाला. तो उसको क्या करना पड़ेगा? ही हैज टू प्ले मिक्स्ड स्ट्रैटेजी. मिक्स्ड स्ट्रैटेजी मतलब क्या? कभी ये स्ट्रैटेजी, कभी स्ट्रैटेजी नंबर 1, कभी 2, कभी 3. So he'll have to change his strategies so that he gains or loses in the optimized manner, right? So this has been given here. So if there is no saddle point, neither player can optimize his chances by using a pair strategy. They must mix some or all of their courses of action, resulting into what? Resulting into the mixed strategies. In the numerical that has been that was there in one of the books. I've taken it because it is simple and a bit confusing, right? So consider the game G with following payoff. So the payoff matrix has been given here for player A and player B. So player A का payoff matrix है यहाँ पे. Show that G is strictly determinable wherever lambda may be. So we are going to neglect this lambda value because we cannot determine this lambda value, right? And determine the value of G that they are particularly telling us. So what I have done is that I have particularly ignored the value of lambda here, and I have found out what is the minimum value of rho, right? So -2, 2 और 6 में से सबसे छोटा वैल्यू 2 है. लैम्बडा का तो वैल्यू पता ही नहीं, तो इसलिए लैम्बडो को मैंने क्या कर दिया यहाँ पे particularly -2 यहाँ पे लिख दिया, right? Similarly for the maximum of the column is 2 and 6. Now the max min value that we have to identify, max min value I have to identify, right? So max min value I will know, particularly it can be -2 here, but अभी -2 अगर सिलेक्ट कर लिया तो ये मालूम नहीं कि हम लोगों को लैम्डा कितना है, तो हम लोग पहले से ही इग्नोरिंग लैम्डा लिखा है. So we are, when we are going to select the max min value, we'll have to neglect this entire row because it consists of the unknown value. तो इसमें से रह जाता है बस एक ही वैल्यू, तो वो एक ही वैल्यू हम लोगों ने क्या कर दिया, यहाँ पे लिख लिया. ठीक है, यहाँ पे हम लोगों के पास चॉइस है 2 और 6 का पर्टिकुलरली, तो यहाँ पे ये वाला कॉलम वापस से हमको इग्नोर करना पड़ेगा. तो जो बच जाता है वैल्यू वो क्या है, 2 है. So that particular value 2 has been taken. So no, because of that, what is going to happen is that, so particularly the max min value is equal to minimax value is equal to 2. Now we have to say that it is strictly determinable. When we say that it is strictly determinable, if max min value is equal to minimax value is greater than 0, so we say that it is strictly determinable. So right, so hence this 2 value is greater than 0, hence this is strictly determinable. Now the value of the game is what? It is, the value is nothing but the value of max min is equal to minimax. So that is 2. So that value we have written here as a 2. So what will be the strategy for A? No, for A, no, particularly A should play A1 so that he'll be winning. And what will be the strategy for B? We will be playing the column B1, right? So this is how this particular pure strategy and saddle point numericals are being asked in your examination. We are very limited, what we can say, limited syllabus for games theory, and only that I am particularly taking, and this is how the rule number 1 numericals are asked regarding identification of the saddle point, or if there is a pure strategy or not, or if it is strictly determinable or not, that they are asking. All right.